In this video, we will learn how to build groups in our Blackboard course. To create a new group, navigate to the Groups tool, either by clicking the link we made in the previous video, shown here in the left-hand navigation menu, or by scrolling down to Course Management, selecting Users and Groups, and selecting Groups. Both of these links will bring you to the same place. If we hover over the Create option, we have two columns, Single Groups and Group Sets. Single groups are helpful if you are looking to create a single group, perhaps for accommodations, enrichment, or an extracurricular project. For this tutorial, we are going to create a group set so that we can divide all of our students into smaller groups. When creating a group set, we can self-enroll and allow students to choose their groups. We can randomly enroll students by allowing the system to evenly distribute students. Or we can manually enroll students by hand-picking where they're going to go. If you have administered student surveys or have an informed approach to your group structures, the manual choice would be the best choice. For this tutorial, I will select Random Enroll as I'm working with fake student accounts. This is also a good option if you don't really know your students yet, or you want the groups to just be fairly distributed. Next, we want to give our group a name. The system will auto-generate a number to follow your name to differentiate your groups. For example, if I enter Group as the name and choose 5 groups, they would be named Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4, and Group 5. You can also call them teams or any other classification that you see fit. For this example, I will call my groups Group. And the description is optional, so I'm going to leave that blank. Just like the group link tool, we have to make our groups visible to students. We don't have to do that now if we're not ready, so I'm going to say no, and then I can edit the settings and adjust it to yes when I'm ready for students to see their groupings. Next, we need to select the tools we want our groups to have access to. Try to only include tools you will be asking them to use, to lessen any confusion. A good place to start is with discussion boards. You can always add new tools when you're ready to try them. For this tutorial, I'm only going to be enabling the discussion board tool, but I will give you a quick overview of the other tools that are available to you. The group blog allows users within a group to add entries and comments to a group blog to share ideas. The group email tool allows for efficient communication. The recipient list is automatically populated with group members, so they can quickly select all or some of them. Emails are sent to the members' external email addresses. The file exchange tool allows the instructor and group members to use the tool to upload documents to the group area. They can also delete files, regardless of who adds them. Files will appear in the order they're uploaded, and uploaded images appear in a new browser window. In group journals, users within a group can share their thoughts with each other and communicate with the instructor. Journal entries made in the group journal are visible to all group members and the instructor. Group tasks allow users within a group to define and separate their workload into tasks, while distributing the list to the entire group. Each task will have a status and a due date to help keep members on track. Group members can view the group assigned tasks in the Group Task tool or in the Course Tasks tool. The instructor and other course members will not see tasks for groups they are not enrolled in while viewing the Course Tasks tool. The last tool I'll highlight is the Group Wiki. You can use group wikis to create a collaborative space for group members to view, contribute, and edit content. By default, all course members can read group wikis, but only members of the group can make a comment on their group wiki page. You can change the default setting to allow only group members to view a group wiki. So now I'm going to unselect any of the tools that I don't want to be available for those students. And I'm going to choose to start with only the discussion board tool. There's also a setting where we can decide if we want to allow any group member to create forums or do not allow student group members to create forums. This is a good choice if you would prefer to have some control over what topics and discussions the groups are having. I'm going to select Do Not Allow Student Group Members to Create Forums. After selecting your tools, continue scrolling down through the settings. The next setting I want to talk about is the Group Set options. We can create a smart view for each group in Set. We'll go over this in further detail in a future video, but essentially this is going to make looking at group work a little easier in our Grade Center, so I'm going to check that off. Our next section is very important. This is how we decide how many groups or how many students will be in each group. I have a really small class, so I'm going to choose number of groups and divide them into two different groups. You can decide if you would like to do a number of students per group, or you can do a much larger number of groups. Let's say you have about 50 students, you could do 10 groups of 5, 5 groups of 10, whatever you're comfortable with. Always consider your total number of students and choose a number that will allow students the benefit of a smaller group, but will still be manageable for you as an instructor. Lastly, our numbers do not always distribute evenly, so here we can decide how to distribute any leftovers. I usually choose number 1, distribute the remaining members amongst the groups, but you can also select put the remaining members in their own group or manually add the remaining members to groups. Click Submit when you're done. Now you can see I have two groups, Group 1 and Group 2. The first group has 2 enrolled members, and the second group has 1. To view a group's members, click on the blue hyperlink of the group name. And from this page, we can see the group members as well as the different group tools that we've enabled for our group assignments. To edit this group, we can hover over the gray chevron next to the Group 1 name and select Edit. If we want to edit the entire group set, we can go back to the previous page, our group page, and hover over the group set name, and we can edit either the properties or the membership status. For this tutorial, I created randomly assigned groups. We can also create manually assigned groups by going to Create, Group Set, Manual Enroll. Again, this is a good option if you use student surveys or you have any information about how your students would best be grouped. Much of the settings will be the same. I'm going to call these groups Team just so we can see the difference. And I'm going to scroll through the settings rather quickly so we can see what's different. Again, we would need to choose our tool availability. Again, I'm going to just choose Discussion Board and Do Not Allow. And then down here we can see we only can specify the number of groups. For now I'm going to say 2, and again I'm going to create that smart view for my gradebook. Next I'll press Submit, scroll down, and you can see here it's created for me a Team 1 and a Team 2. From here I have the option to add users to each team. Clicking on this link will give me a populated list of the students enrolled in my class, and I can manually select them. So again, I'm going to choose, for this group, I'll choose 2 and Submit, Student 1 and Student 2. And for my other team, I'll add users and I'll select that one that's left. So you can see it eliminates the students that you've already selected, so it's not confusing for you when you're trying to organize your students, and nobody gets left out. And Submit. And finally, Submit again. Now if I go back to my groups page, you can see we have our 2 random groups that we made and our 2 manual groups that we made. Essentially, they're the same groupings, but they're 2 different ways to create them. In the next video, we will go over how to add new users should additional students register for your class.